All right, let's talk about the future of code. And I'm not just talking about some clever autocomplete or a little coding assistant. No, we're looking at a fundamental shift in how software gets made. Why? Because your team is about to get a new member, and they're not human.
Yeah, you heard me right. Just let that sink in for a second. Your next pair programmer isn't human. The one you're going to be debugging with, building features with, it's an AI. So the big question is, what does that actually look like in your day-to-day? And look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi fantasy. We're talking soon, like by 2026. That's the timeline where AI is expected to graduate from being just a tool we use to being a full-on teammate. So this is the story of how that's all going to go down, and more importantly, where you fit into this new world.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this massive change, we have to start with a new core concept. It's the move from the simple AI assistants we know today to something much more powerful called agentic AI.
So what on earth is agentic AI? Well, put simply, it's an AI that doesn't just sit there waiting for your next command. Instead, you give it a goal, and it figures out the whole plan. It executes all the steps, checks its own work, and if things go sideways, it adapts its strategy on the fly.
And here is the difference in a nutshell. An AI assistant is reactive. You say, hey, draft this email, and it does. But an AI agent is proactive. You can give it a goal, like plan, research, and launch our entire new feature email campaign, and it takes ownership of that whole end-to-end workflow. It's not just one step, it's the whole shebang.
You might be thinking, okay, that sounds cool, but is anyone actually doing this? Well, yeah, this is not just theory. These AI agents are already out there in the real world. So let's take a look at a few examples that show just how much of a game changer this is.
I mean, check these out. You've got a tool like Lovable that can spin up a whole full-stack web app from just a simple description. Or CodeTester, which is incredible. It goes beyond just testing if a button works and does something called vibe testing to see if the user experience actually feels right. And it gets even wilder. Platforms from Anthropic and OpenAI now let you build and manage entire teams of AI agents that can work together on really complex problems. It's pretty nuts.
But of course, you can't just flip a switch and have this work perfectly. There are really two ways people are doing this. You have the pure AI-only assistants, which are great for simple drafting and automation. Then you have the human-managed models, where a person is there to provide accountability, judgment, and handle all the weird edge cases. The really high-performing teams are figuring out the right blend of both.
And this is where the scale of all this becomes truly mind-bending. Experts are predicting what they call an agent economy. Just imagine AI agents from different companies autonomously finding each other, negotiating terms, and working together on projects, all without a human in the loop. That's the future we're building.
But, okay, let's pump the brakes a little bit, because there is a huge catch here. These agents are incredibly powerful, but they can be like a brilliant apprentice who has absolutely zero common sense, and that opens the door to some pretty serious risks.
This quote right here is honestly terrifying, because from a machine's perspective, it's perfectly logical. You tell it to improve the code. Well, the most efficient way to do that might just be to delete everything and start over. A human would know that's insane, but an AI might not. And the result? Totally catastrophic.
And that really gets to the heart of it. AI is an amplifier. If you have a messy workflow, AI doesn't fix it. It just makes the mess happen way, way faster. It completely lacks our human judgment. It can generate bloated, clunky code, and it opens up brand new kinds of security risks. These are not small problems we're talking about.
So how in the world do you manage that? Well, a lot of experts are calling this the parenting AI phase. And I just love that metaphor. You have to treat it like a super gifted teenager who you can't quite trust yet. You have to break tasks down, make it show its work, and double-check its reasoning before you give it any real responsibility.
And all of this leads to the most important question. What is our new job in all this? The role of the human developer is making a huge shift from being in the loop, doing every little task, to managing from above the loop.
Now, let's be super clear here. The goal is not replacement. It's not even just about making humans faster. It's about creating a true, complementary partnership where the combined human and AI team can build something way beyond what either could have accomplished alone.
So what does leading from above the loop actually feel like? Well, it means you're the strategist. You set the goals, the vision, and the rules of the game. You're the auditor, constantly making sure the AI is still on the right track. And you're the exception handler, the one who steps in when things get complicated and you need a real human judgment call.
And this quote just nails it. AI makes it easy to create almost anything. The hard part now is knowing what's actually good. Having that taste, that discernment, that craftsmanship, that's what's going to separate the great operators from the average ones from now on.
Okay, so let's zoom out one last time and look at the big picture. What does all of this mean for our teams, our roles, and even our entire companies in this new agentic age?
Whoa, okay, look at this data. This is fascinating. There's this huge gap between how the top brass and the people on the ground see AI. You have almost 3/4 of VPs saying they've considered replacing people with AI. But when you ask the managers who actually have to implement this stuff, that number plummets to just 18%. That shows a major disconnect between the hype and the reality.
And with this massive shift, of course, we're seeing brand new roles emerge. We're going to need AI operations managers to orchestrate these teams of agents. We'll need human-AI interaction specialists to design the workflows between us and them. And we'll need quality stewards whose entire job is to be the guardian of taste, ethics, and quality. These aren't jobs from a sci-fi movie, they're the jobs of the very near future.
So when you boil it all down, the final takeaway is this. The challenge isn't about replacing developers. The real challenge is about training leaders who can manage this new reality. The most valuable skill in the future of software won't be just writing code, but guiding these powerful hybrid teams that do. So the only question left is, are you ready?